Alrighty, so here we are continuing our wind down for the year 2024 in the springtime, and getting to some interesting thoughts on Jonathan Cahn's book, The Avatar, just came out in September, Return of the Ancients, and The Future of America. Looking at Bible patterns in modern times, we are going to, let's see, share my screen here, not open the chat. Let's, there we go. Get there, go there. And there we are. So let's see here. There is on April 1st, senior Iranian Guard leader killed, Iranian Revolutionary Guard leader killed in Damascus airstrike. Well, that's interesting. Why was a leader of Iran killed in Syria, in Damascus, Syria? What was he doing up there? Obviously, Iran had some close ties with what was going on in Syria. Here's the guy. Turns out the guy that Israel killed in Syria, the Iranian guy that Israel killed in Syria, General Zahid, killed in an Israeli strike, he was the architect of the October 7th attack. Well, one of them, along with Hamza bin Laden in Afghanistan, where it was planned a couple years before it happened. So yeah, so Israel took care of business there. Here was a mapping. Oh, here's a response. As a result of his killing on April 13th, Iran fired 300 missiles and drones. Most of them were intercepted, minor damage at an Israel Defense Force base. For the first time in history, Iran, rather than using their other proxy nations, Iran themselves fired directly into Israel for the first time. So that's upping the scale of things. And then Israel, in their wisdom, they responded with a precise, limited strike to get their message across without escalating things too much. Israel knowing what they're doing. That was April 19th. And here's another not the B article. It was officially reported Joe Biden's Justice Department investigation found that Joe Biden's FBI had no bias in targeting Catholic extremists. So they investigated themselves and said, no, we're not guilty of anything. We haven't been targeting pro-lifers and these Catholic extremists. Well, actually, it just came out in recent discoveries that, oh yeah, a lot has been revealed that they actually were. So there's that. We mentioned this at the time, and I actually played a little snippet of it. The Olympics is coming. Remember, we've talked about the Japheth Indo-European influences, the Indo-European, India, and Europe, especially Greek mythology. So Hindu gods of India, Greek mythology, and their influence in the tug of war with the Judeo-Christian faith. The Olympics was coming up, so we've got the ceremonial prayer and praise to Apollo and Zeus. And yeah, the Olympic Games channeling their Greek origins, paying homage to one of the false Greek gods, Zeus. And yeah, we showed the video of that on the time. So yeah, but more on Olympics and the Greek gods and Dionysius coming up later on as we go. Just a map showing the different states of the conflict between Israel and its neighbors as all of this was escalating, as Israel was responding to October 7th of 2023. We had this little tidbit. The president, Razi, says Israel risks its existence by attacking Iran. So he threatened the existence of Israel for their attack on Iran. And I believe he did that on the Passover too. So he's blaspheming Israel and its existence. So remember that. That's the Iranian president, Razi. Did that on April 23rd. April 30th. Republic first seizure signals more bank failures to come, the experts warn. The government took over the first bank failure of 2024, shut down by Pennsylvania's bank regulator and the Federal Deposit Insurance Corps, and seized control of the operation. So yeah, things were a bit tumultuous financially there, and are still being a bit propped up. So, where are we going with this? Oh, that should be plugged in there. Oh, it popped out. How funny. Little plugs in here, but it came out down there. There we go. It's the little things. Okay. So what we have here, let's go to this. So what about the Hindu influences and directions and spiritual entities? Because remember, we're talking about false gods and all that stuff. We're talking about demons. So what was the Hindu influence here? Let's check this out. So now we're into May of 2024 as we're winding down here. The goddess Lakshmi. Remember, Kamala is basically being an avatar for the Hindu goddess Lakshmi, which is actually her sister's middle name. Kamala Devi Harris is a lotus goddess, is what her name translates as. The goddess Lakshmi was linked to power, government power. She was worshipped as the consort to the kings, including some of the most powerful of reigning Hindu deities and several lesser ones. If behind Kamala Harris is the mystery of the goddess, then is it possible the goddess's connection to government power lay behind her own likely ascent to the heights of government power? Did she follow the same course? It was Vishnu with which the goddess was most associated. So Lakshmi is most associated with Vishnu. According to Hindu mythology, it was through Vishnu that the universe came into existence. He's worshipped as one of Hindu's supreme beings, the preserver, lord of the world, sustainer of the universe, overseer of the cosmic order. Alongside Vishnu's jewel-encrusted throne is the lotus throne of the goddess on which she co-reigns. So they are buddy-buddy. So we have Vishnu and we have Lakshmi. During her vice presidency, long before she was considered a candidate for the presidency, Harris appeared on a nationally broadcast television program in which a striking exchange took place. The program's host told her, "We need you to be Kamala of the country." She was asking Harris to be the mother of the nation. The use of such words in reference to an American leader was unprecedented. The moment would be seen as especially awkward, but could it have been unintentionally significant? The goddess was known as the Great Mother, or in other words, the Kamala. As Vishnu was referred to as Lord of the World, his co-regent goddess was addressed as Mother of the World. To the millions who witnessed it on TV, the words of the host appeared strange and out of place. But they're actually in perfect accord with the deity that lay behind Kamala Harris, the great Kamala goddess. So people thought it was kind of strange when the TV host said, "Hey, we need you to be Kamala," but that's in keeping with the pattern and template of Lakshmi, the consort of Vishnu there. Oh, one more thing, and we'll close on this and then have our final scripture back in Genesis 50. So, Vishnu, this guy here, the pairing of the goddess to the ruling Vishnu, it's Vishnu who appears mostly passive, and the goddess is mostly active. So in the pairing of Harris to Biden, it was Biden who appeared to many as passive, and Harris as the more energetic of the two. Trump even referred to him as Sleepy Joe. In view of the pantheon of the Hindu gods, though, that's actually somewhat striking, because Vishnu was known as the sleeping god. He was the deity who fell into the Yag Nidra, the cosmic sleep. While the king of creation sleeps, Lakshmi, Kamala, in effect, performs his function as sustainer of the universe, compensating and covering for her sleepy Vishnu. Yeah. So that's that. Any thoughts, comments, reactions on that bit there? Well, we will end there on that note for the current events, and let's close back in Genesis chapter 50, and we'll stop our share here. Let's end on this note, which I found pretty fascinating. So Genesis 50, once again, with Joseph comforting his brothers after the death of their father Jacob. This time we will be over here looking at this. So again, Genesis chapter 50, We'll just look at the last verses, verse 19 to 21. Genesis 50:19. But Joseph said to them, "Do not be afraid, for am I in God's place? As for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, in order to bring about this present result, to keep many people alive. So therefore do not be afraid. I will provide for you and your little ones." So he comforted them and spoke kindly to them. So what's the thought here? Joseph is a shadow of the coming Messiah. So in what ways do we see that Joseph was like Jesus? Joseph was the beloved son of his father. Joseph's father, Jacob, sent him on a mission to his brothers. Joseph was despised, rejected, and conspired against. Joseph was separated from his family. Joseph was falsely accused, and though innocent, was arrested and taken to prison, suffering for the sins of others. Joseph was raised up from the dungeon, seated in glory on the throne of the kingdom. Joseph was responsible for saving an entire nation from death. So all of those, we can of course substitute the name Joseph for the name Jesus and see that he fulfilled all of that. So Jesus is absolutely all over the Old Testament. Not only does he show up in person in there, of course, with God the Father and the Spirit, and the theophanies and whatnot, but even God's whole intention and desire for his Christ would be carried out and exemplified through many others, Joseph being one of many. So I appreciate that connection there with Joseph and Jesus. Any reactions to that or thoughts on any of these things we've considered this evening? If not, yes, yeah,
I just want to mention that Joseph was forgiving.
He was forgiving.
And I don't feel that he ever had any lack. There was not a lack of forgiveness there at all.
Yeah.
I mean, that his brothers weren't aware of it.
When his brothers first showed up, he didn't know what state they were in, and so he was a little testing the waters with them. He wanted to make sure, and remember, he and Benjamin were the only two of the same mom, Rachel, and Benjamin wasn't with them at first. So he's like, oh my gosh, did they do anything to my little brother too? So that's why he held Simeon captive, said, go bring back the little brother. And proved to me that he's okay, and so then on from there. So yeah, he was a little skeptical, but when they brought him back, and when they were repentant, when they were showing, hey, this money showed up on our bags, it's not ours, and when they were being honest in their dealings with him, he and just seeing all the brothers, he finally broke down and revealed himself. And to your point, from then on, he couldn't and didn't hold a grudge against him, especially recognizing the Lord elevating him so that he could offer that same grace to those who needed it as well, just as Christ does for us. Yeah, good stuff. So with that, we'll go ahead and stop our recording for the evening, and let's stand and meet in the center and close out in our season of prayer together.